HOA Karen tries to evict black man, unaware. He's the owner of her house. It was a quiet afternoon in Oak Ridge Estates, a well-manicured suburban neighborhood where everything had to be just right, at least according to the Homeowners Association, HOA. At the center of this HOA was Margaret Karen Willoughby, a middle-aged woman with an iron grip on the rules and a reputation for making life miserable for anyone who didn't fit her vision of the community. For years, she had harassed residents about minor infractions, mailboxes an inch too high, grass growing half an inch past regulation, driveways with a single fallen leaf. But her biggest issue? She hated change. So when she saw a black man unloading boxes into the house on 14 Sycamore Lane, she was livid. That home had belonged to the Martins, an older white couple, for decades. There was no way this man belonged there. She stormed out of her house, clipboard in hand, her short bob haircut bouncing with every furious step. "Excuse me! Excuse me!" she shouted, approaching the man, who had just set down a heavy box on the porch. The man, Jordan Carter, turned around, wiping his forehead. He was a tall, well-dressed man in his early 40s, with a calm demeanor and an air of quiet authority. "Yes? Can I help you?" he asked politely. Karen folded her arms. "I knew the Martins were selling, but I wasn't informed of any tenants moving in. Renting out properties is strictly against HOA regulations." Jordan chuckled lightly. "I'm not renting." Karen squinted at him. "Then why are you here? Helping someone move?" Jordan took a deep breath, realizing exactly what was happening. "I own this house," Karen scoffed. "No, that's impossible. The Martins would have never sold to—" She stopped herself, but the implication was crystal clear. Jordan remained calm, though irritation flickered in his eyes. "Well, they did. I closed on the house 2 weeks ago." He pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, and turned the screen toward her. A document appeared, the official deed to the property with his name on it. Karen's face turned red. There must be some mistake. The HOA would have never approved this. Jordan raised an eyebrow. "Approved what, exactly?" Karen fumbled for words. Well, you see, there's a strict vetting process." "Actually, there isn't," Jordan interrupted. "HOAs can't prevent someone from buying a house based on race, gender, or anything else. That would be illegal." Karen's jaw tightened. "Well, you still have rules to follow. The HOA expects all residents to maintain certain standards, and I'll be watching you." Jordan smiled. "Oh, I know the rules very well, Karen. I helped write them." Karen blinked. "What do you mean?" Jordan pulled another document from his folder. "I'm not just a homeowner here. I'm also a real estate investor and, as of last week, a board member of the HOA. The board voted in new leadership, and guess what? I'm now your boss." Karen's face turned white. Jordan continued, his voice cool and professional. "I've heard a lot of complaints about you, Karen. Harassing neighbors, excessive fines, targeting people you don't like. And now, you just tried to evict the owner of this house because he didn't fit your idea of this community." Karen stammered, but no words came out. Jordan sighed. "Here's the deal. You have 2 options. You can step down from the HOA peacefully, or we can have a full-blown investigation into your actions. Trust me, once the residents hear what you've been doing, you won't have a choice." Karen's lips trembled. She had spent years lording over this neighborhood. Now it was slipping through her fingers. I'll step down," she whispered. Jordan nodded. "Good choice. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a house to move into." Karen turned and shuffled away, defeated. As she walked back to her house, which, By the way, she was renting. She realized something even worse. The property owner? It was Jordan. She had just tried to evict her own landlord. Jordan chuckled to himself, shaking his head. This was going to be an interesting neighborhood to live in. The end.